Hello there, Philippine NARS listeners and followers. How are you all doing? We hope you are fine. And of course, as you know, Philippine NARS is brought to you by the PNANV, or the Philippine Nurses Association of Nevada, in collaboration with PHLV Radio. So thank you very much for joining us today. Well, as you know also, English as a second or a foreign language, as we know it, it's ESL, is the teaching and learning of English by people whose first language is not English. So English is taught worldwide in schools, in universities, language schools, workplaces, and community programs. And learners study English for purposes which includes education, employment, immigration, and international communication. The teaching methods, of course, may vary depending on the learner's needs and professional proficiency levels and educational settings, which range from either formal classroom instruction or self-directed studies, or, like more these days, online learning. So today we are going to talk about a program that is specially designed to help healthcare workers. So we have invited a very special guest here, Miss Allison Staley. Welcome, Allison.
Well, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, thank you. And for all of you, we're going to let Allison talk about herself, but she is the Regional Supervisor for Adult Learning for the Clark County Libraries, right?
Yes. I am with the Las Vegas Clark County Library District, and I am a regional supervisor. I go around to a number of different library locations where we have ESL classes, and kind of go over there and work with the various teachers, help make sure that those classes are running the way they should, help with pre-testing and post-testing as we work to get as many students as possible into those free classes that are offered by the library district.
Very, very good. So we are so honored, so happy that you're here today.
Well, thank you.
Okay, that's good. So, Allison, for the longest time, people know about ESL, right? Which is, of course, the English as a second language, and the availability of training to enhance people's language skills. Now we have the IET programs, which you're going to talk about. What is the difference between ESL and the IET program?
So through the library district, what we offer at a number of different library hubs are these ESL classes. And so we have everybody take a pre-test first to be able to determine what their level is, because we have these classes for the very, very low beginners, and then we've got high beginning and low intermediate, high intermediate, then we've got advanced and advanced too. And so we've got all of these different levels for people. And so there are all these different classes that people can test into and do absolutely for free. Once they get through that, they have a choice. They can even go on with us and do our high set program. If, say, they need a high school diploma with our high set program, they can continue on. But the IET is the next step after that. So a lot of people come to the U.S., they don't speak English. First they need to get a basic foundation in English, and we take them all the way to advanced. But then they need a job, they need work. And so that's where the IET program comes in. And so we are working with EmployNV to be able to get them funding so that they can get into a CNA program or an MA program, totally, depending on what their income is, oftentimes for 100% free. And then our program through the library is always 100% free. And so if they're just starting, say, a CNA program, what we're going to do is we're going to work with them, and we're not teaching them the medical skills. That's the CNA program. We're teaching them the vocabulary they need, whether that is vocabulary for the medical field, and that's what we call it, English for the medical field, or whether that's some academic vocabulary so that they can get through this program and then pass that written portion of the test for their CNA. Then the next step, maybe they want to go through and get an MA, so they can also get either a portion or all of it paid through through Employ and Be, which also has locations at the library. And then as they're doing that, that would be our kind of second vertical, where we would have a little bit more challenging and appropriate for an MA program classes to help make sure that they're passing those tests, that they're understanding their classes.
Right.
So they've got all of that opportunity.
So IET meaning integrated English training, right? So you hone in on what type of occupation they want to be and set your training for that? Is that sort of?
Exactly right. So right now we're really focusing in on the medical field.
Okay.
We're also partnering with ONA, which is the Governor's Office for New Americans. So they're having folks coming in who maybe have a medical license from another country.
Right.
And they need to pass a lot of tests to be able to use that here in the U.S.
Right.
So that's kind of our goal, to be this resource for people to help them learn English for the medical field.
So basically, the program is designed for everybody, but just it's specific for where they want to be.
Yes, exactly.
In the occupation. Okay, yeah. For ESL, it's just basically training to enhance your English language, right?
Yes, exactly.
Skills. Okay. All right. So enhancing English skills is important for healthcare workers, right? And
absolutely.
What do you think? Can you give us the reasons why? Some of them anyway. Well, I kind of know, but you go ahead and go.
Well, it's really important, one, that they can pass the test so that they can get licensed, and two, they need to be able to communicate and understand their patients. So as part of the IUT, there's going to be a lot of practicing with communication and mock conversations and mock situations so that anyone who's a student in that class gets the opportunity to practice before they have to go and do it for real in their job.
Right, right. I can tell you stories about when I first came here, but let's not do that. Because the language is a little different. I mean, in the Philippines, we were taught to speak English. The medium of instruction is English. But of course, you still have the accent to deal with. And of course, the differences in how you say things here in the States rather than in your home country, right? And I'm not only talking about the Philippines, right?
That's so true. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So do you have any statistics on the healthcare workers here in Nevada, and why is diversity important? I know it's very diverse, right?
It is very diverse, and the terrible thing is we have a shortage of healthcare workers here in the Las Vegas area and Nevada at large. So that's why there's a bill that has passed that is allowing people who say they have a doctorate from another country to be able to come to the U.S., get some training, especially in English language, and shadow a doctor here for a couple of years, 2 years, and then they have to pass some medical field tests to be able to use that license here in the U.S. and become a licensed U.S. doctor. And all of these different programs are all to try to get that shortage here fixed. So diversity is so important. We need all the doctors and nurses we can. We need to draw as many people as we can into the medical field because there's just such a need in this state.
Well, there certainly is. Back in the day, we didn't have these programs. They didn't have these programs, and if you were a doctor in a different country and you came here, it's difficult to pass the exams here without any, help, from free programs like this. So a lot of doctors, sometimes I know some doctors who have become nurses because they cannot pass the medical stuff. But I'm so glad this is
It's a completely free program to the people who want it. It is paid for by WIOA, federal funds, and the whole goal is to be a resource for people so that they go, oh, I can go to the library and go to the adult learning program, and there are going to be all of these resources to help me.
Okay. Well, and diversity is really important, right?
Oh, it absolutely is. We want different voices, different experiences, so that people feel comfortable, and maybe they can, have somebody who maybe understands where they're coming from, because our area and our state is so diverse. It makes sense to have our medical community be very diverse.
Be very diverse, of course, yeah. So, you kind of sometimes, if you're from a different, from a certain country, you sort of kind of look for somebody who's sort of like, looks like you, right? So, and that's a given. I mean, a lot of people want that.
Absolutely.
If they were Filipinos, they want a Filipino doctor. If they're, from Africa, they want an African doctor. Something like that. So the training is really important, right?
And that's all we want to do, is be this great resource for people, so that they, know that this is out there and that it's available to them.
Okay, great. So in the program that you mentioned, what medical workplace skills or topics are taught? I think you sort of kind of mentioned that already, but
absolutely. So we're starting here at kind of a basic level. So the first vertical we're creating is kind of at that CNA level, meeting patients, talking to them about their symptoms, what their struggles are, having those conversations, having those mock workplace scenarios. Making sure that we're teaching some of the more, basic vocabulary for someone who, say, wanted to be in a CNA setting. Then we would begin work on our next kind of class, that next vertical, for somebody who's going into a little bit more of an advanced situation, like an MA and then nursing and that sort of thing, so that we're building on those skills for people who want to kind of stay with us.
And there's a progression.
Yes, exactly.
Interactions are different. Oh, that's really cool. So what is the enrollment process? And you said there is a pre-test involved, and we sort of kind of know that. But how would they get into a program like this?
Well, number one, they can contact me. I'm Allison, Allison Staley, Staley, at thelibrarydistrict.org. I would love to get them more information. When they're ready, they're going to need to sign up for a pre-test at one of their local libraries. Okay. And we have 3 hubs where they could pick and go and do a pre-test. So we have a hub at the East Las Vegas Library, we have a hub at the West Las Vegas Library, and we have a hub at the Clark County Library, where we have pre-tests. So they can go online and they can look up the adult learning program. They'll see information about ESL, and they can follow the steps that are on our website, and they would be able to go, okay, so I'm going to send my information into the adult learning program. Okay, I'm going to sign up for a pre-test. They can also call one of those library hubs and talk to one of our literacy assistants, who can get them signed up for a pre-test that way as well.
Okay. All right, and they can also go to the library itself, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So they could stop by the East Las Vegas Library or the West Las Vegas Library or the Clark County Library, and they would be, oh yes, the IET program, that's something we're getting going, and they would end up needing to schedule a pretest.
That's good, because not everybody has internet. I can tell you that, especially even with the older people. But the younger people who are also still struggling, it's kind of a little difficult to do that. So I'm glad that is open. Choices are open.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
So why do students schedule pre-testing, and what should they expect during that day?
So the pre-testing is to determine their level and see exactly what they need. So first, we're going to give them an ESL pre-test, and just to determine where they are with their English and what they're going to need. So say they're a low beginner, we're going to say, hey, you know what, we need you to get to a certain level of proficiency before we start talking healthcare. You would need to take, and these are totally, no cost to the person who's participating classes, federally funded through and offered through the library. They would be like, oh, you're a low beginner, let's get you into a low beginner class or a high beginner class. And then once they're hitting up more toward that advanced English, and we know, okay, so you're able to hold a conversation, then we're going to say, okay, well, now that you're at this, more advanced level, let's move you on over to the IET class, where we're going to be doing this specialized English and focusing on the medical field, where we're going to take your already ability to communicate some in English and start using that toward the medical field. So we're going to make sure that if they're trying to get their CNA license and they're going to take a CNA exam, that they're going to be successful in a CNA class or, in whatever they're trying to achieve. Once they've gotten through our ESL and they're like, okay, I've got the English portion, now let's do English for the medical field. Then it's, hey, let's get you into this IET. If you're looking to get into a CNA program or something like that and want some help with the cost of that, let's take you over. Also in these library hubs, Employee and V, let's get you all these resources to help make sure you are successful.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So what about the instructors? Where do you get them and what are their qualifications for? Is it like a face-to-face class or is it more of an online class?
So we try to offer classes across much of Las Vegas. So we have classes at the Sahara West Library.
Okay.
We actually have a couple classes at Lan Tien, which is the Chinese Cultural Center.
Oh, okay.
We also have our classes at the Spring Valley Library. We have classes, like I mentioned, at our hubs, the East Las Vegas, West Las Vegas, and Clark County libraries. So we have all of these different options for people. So if they'd like to attend an in-class or an in-person class, they can do so. And we have times in the morning, in midday, in the evening. We also have several online classes, not so much for our beginners. We kind of like to have them in person. But for our intermediate and advanced students, we offer some online options where it's at a certain time with a live teacher but online, so it's easy for them. So we try to make this as accessible as possible. Yeah.
Right. So the instructors, where do you get them, and how do you sign up to be an instructor? What are the qualifications?
So we're looking for people with teaching experience. Ideally, they have a certification in English as a second language.
Okay.
So many of our instructors have either worked for years and years and years with, say, CCSD, or so the Clark County School District, or maybe they've been teaching English overseas. They have their ESL certifications, and they have experience teaching people where English is not their first language. So we look for very experienced teachers who are really passionate about helping people who are learning English as a second language.
And if they instruct people in healthcare, do they have to have a healthcare background or?
No, actually, we have a curriculum. So our curriculum for both our ESL classes and then for our English for special purposes for the healthcare field comes from Burlington English.
English.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's already set up with these different modules and what they're going to be learning.
That's awesome.
So it makes it pretty simple across the board.
Simple. Okay. Is it hard to get an ESL certification?
It takes some studying.
That's so funny. Okay. So what other options do you offer for adult learners? Like you mentioned something about the HiSET preparation.
Yes, absolutely. So we try to offer a full range of services for people when they come in. So first we make sure that their English is on point. So if they're looking for ESL classes, we have all those different levels I mentioned.
Okay.
But say they don't need help with their English, but they really want a high school diploma. Say they're like, I want to take classes at college and I need a high school diploma. We also have those HiSET classes I mentioned.
Where SH means high school.
So
okay.
So it's to get them basically a high school equivalency.
Okay.
So that they can say they want to attend UNLV and they don't have a high school diploma. This is what gets them a high school diploma. So they can go in and instead of testing for their English ability, they would be testing for their reading and math understanding.
Okay.
And so we'd see what those levels are and place them into an appropriate class so that they can start working on those English, reading, science, all of that, their abilities in that, so that they can eventually pass those equivalency tests. Absolutely.
That is so awesome, and this is all for free. This is great.
Absolutely. Well, we are free for our participants because of those wonderful WIOA funds.
Yes. Okay, so you did mention about the different locations already. So there's a lot of library locations where these classes take place, either online or on-site.
Yes,
Correct,
absolutely.
Right.
So our big main hub for someone's like, I want the whole menu. They could head right down to the Clark County Library. It's down, it's like basement level because there's 3 levels. So this is on the bottom floor. There's multiple classrooms there. There's our literacy assistants. They would just walk right down, and that's kind of where everything started. That was our primary first location, and they've got all of the information there. They'll also have information though at East and West Library. We also have it on the Library District website as well.
Okay, so you only do this through the Clark County School District, right?
Clark County Library, yeah.
Library, Clark County Library. Do you ever go to specific grassroots organizations and help and offer these classes as well?
Absolutely. So we're always interested in partnering up so that we can offer classes in locations that make sense for the people who are taking those classes. So like I mentioned, we're already at the Lantien Chinese Cultural Center. We're in talks with a couple of other possible partners to put a couple classes at some other locations across Las Vegas, just so that they're kind of in people's neighborhoods, so it's not a long drive.
You know, have you ever heard of ACDC? Not the band, but the Asian Community Cultural AC Development Council.
I think I've heard of them, but I haven't partnered with them at this point.
Okay, you may want to look them up because this is part of their their educational stuff is to help the community, and there's different. So I'll talk to you about that later.
That would be great.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So again, the best way to contact you for the IET questions is go ahead and mention. And
you can just email me.
Screen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can just email me. Again, it's allison.staley@thelibrarydistrict.org. You can always contact me at the library. You can go on the Library District website itself and go to the Adult Learning Program. You can call our various hub locations and talk to the Adult Learning Program folks, and they'll tell you about our various classes and options and pre-testing. So there are lots of different ways to get information on this program.
Very good, very good. Now, I'm going to throw you a curveball question. Have you had any specific experiences with working with Filipino American?
Well, we've had experiences with working with students from all across the world. We have Filipino American students. We have students from Africa. We have students from India. I'm trying to think. We have some students that are from Russia. We have all kinds of students.
Wow.
We have students where, they have just these incredible backgrounds and incredible stories. So we have a very diverse group of students who are taking advantage of the Adult Learning Program.
Yeah. Do you classify them, or do you bunch them together per culture, or just no?
No, it's by level. So it's by level.
By
so
level.
our low
All
beginners
right.
go with our low beginners. Our high beginners go with our high beginners.
Okay,
Our folks who are
okay.
pretty proficient in English
Makes
but are
sense.
working on their medical field English, they'll be together.
Okay, very good. Well,
Yeah.
thanks. So, what would you like our listeners to know, especially the healthcare professionals in the community, with regards to these programs? How, would you want them to connect, and why is it important?
So we want them to know that this program exists. That if they have somebody who's coming into the U.S. for the first time, or someone who needs help with their English, I want them to know that, one, there's this wonderful program at the library, the Adult Learning Program. You can just head to the library website and search it up. That it's no cost to anybody who's participating in it. That will meet them where they are at their various level. So I want them to know that that's out there. I want them to know that if they have someone who's like, like, man, I'd really like to become a CNA or an MA, and how do I afford this? I don't, as long as they're able to be hired for a job in the United States, they can go to the library, go to Employ NV, and get help, financial help, getting into those programs, and then they can take advantage of RIET, where we're going to help make sure that they're successful in those programs with supportive classes, helping them with the vocabulary and the conversation skills and the test preparation with that academic language. So I just want them to know that there are all of these great resources available for people.
Right, and I'm so glad, we spoke with you, because we know that through different community colleges or whatnot, they have ESL programs. They have there are some organizations in there that do a bridge a gap program so that they can learn more English, but they cost a lot of money.
Yes, and these are totally free. All they have to do is go to their library.
Right. Oh my gosh, this is so wonderful. This is so wonderful. Well, is there anything else you want to say?
Well, just thank you so much for having me on. I'm so grateful to be able to kind of spread the word that this opportunity is out there.
Yes, and that's why, we wanted you to come, because I'm pretty sure, this information needs to be disseminated out there.
Yes, it definitely does.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much, Miss Allison Staley, and for joining us today and talking about, this program. This is a wonderful initiative and a wonderful opportunity for our workforce, actually, right? So thanks again.
Of course. I'm just so thrilled to be here.
Come back anytime if you have anything else to say.
Well, thank you.
Okay. And to our listeners and followers, we leave you with this. The journey of learning English is deeply personal and highly variable. It depends on a student's level of proficiency, their learning environment, and the methods available to them, whether through formal classroom instruction or through self-directed study at home, or through a blended approach that combines both. So what remains essential across all settings is meaningful cultural immersion and the exposure to the language habits of the host country. So both of which are the key elements addressed through these programs. And ultimately, diversity in healthcare is not only a social responsibility, but a clinical necessity. It ensures that care is equitable, effective, and respectful in every aspect of the patient's identity and experience. So by investing in programs like this that strengthen language skills and cultural understanding, we improve patient outcomes while building more resilient, compassionate, and adequate healthcare systems for our future. So thank you very much for joining us today. Please be safe and be well. Until next time, this is Doris Bauer, your Philippine NARS host, signing off for now.
Just like a friend from back home. This is your Filipino radio experience in Las Vegas. PHLV Radio.